Hey guys, and welcome back to another Inkscape tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw each one of these three different modifications to the object. So, let's get started. So, let's go over to a clear spot and start drawing those things up. So, let's do like that, invent box. Then, we can change the font to bold. Let's now add like a drop shadow to it. That would be really useful for making it, I think, stand out a little more or something. So change it to like a different color than black, and I'm going to copy it, and then it just pasted a second one of these, and go ahead and turn that one black. Now move it down to the bottom layer by clicking this button, and move it down like a couple times and over a couple times. Make sure you do, if you go down twice, move it over twice. Now, I think that's a little too much, so let's move it up, over and up, one more, like that. That looks good. Just modify it to where it looks good. And I think that looks pretty good. It's either that or that. Of course. Okay, let's go with this. So that is this is a very simple thing to do with drop shadow. It's just very simple. So I really like that one. And you can just copy this. Now, the next one is kind of adding like a shading behind it. So you'll want it starts out the same way as the drop shadow. You copy it by doing Control D and changing it to black. Then you move the black layer down to the bottom. You can right click on the fill and go here to edit fill. Or you could do Control Shift F. Then here is the blur option, and what you're gonna do is just blur this a little bit, like that, and that kind of gives the text almost a three-dimensional look because it's like shading around it, like the light's bouncing off of it. So this one's really cool. It definitely makes it look really nice. And the last one is to put it inside of kind of like a little black box, but it looks like there's shading and stuff. So you go ahead and draw a little rectangle around it. Now it doesn't look like my opacity. No, I can just change to black. My opacity is not all the way up, so do Control Shift F. Control Shift F. Change my opacity all the way back up. There we go. And move down to the bottom layer, and then do Control Shift A. And that will center it. Okay. Now, let's take like a little oval or ellipse. Draw it across like that. Now let's center that. Align and distribute center. There we go, just like that. So now we can change this to a lighter color, like very light. Let's make the invent box a little darker. And let's kind of grayish, but not too gray. Right there. That's good. So bring it down just a little. No, right there. So now let's take the box all the way up. Select both of them by clicking Shift, Path, Intersection, and then that just cut a circle out of there. So I'm gonna Control Z, do that, and copy the square. Do the exact same thing. Now move this back to the bottom layer. Oh, I think we differenced it. So let's copy both of these. Path, intersection. There we go. Now move this guy to the very bottom layer and change the opacity of this. Control Shift F. Bring up fill and stroke settings, and then take the opacity down so it'll look like shading. Right there. So that kind of looks like it's a black box that has shading around it. So in this tutorial I just kind of showed you some cool features you can do to different objects. Of course, you can totally change this to anything. On this one, I could copy the box, move it down to the very bottom layer, and change this other box here to like that gray. Then select the box that's underneath it and blur it out a little bit. Oops. Then select this box oops. And I gotta disable snapping. Take this up, select the box, do Control Z, and then take the blur up on that black box, and it'll kind of add the blur behind the button. Or you could do that on any of these on the drop shadow. You could even add a tiny bit of a blur to make it look more like a shadow, or something like that. Or on this box, I could add a drop shadow. So really, you could like put any of this stuff on really any object. So I hope this video is useful.